stories you see are straight, usually white, trans men or whatever. So I was like, this could be a learning experience. I never started telling my story.
I never realized it's gay trans men and it's straight trans men. Lord, I'm so confused.
In hopes that I would go viral. That was never a thought. Literally never.
An Alabama police officer will not be charged in the fatal shooting of a young African-American man he mistook for a suspect. Today, video was released of the shooting on Thanksgiving night. The officer was responding to a shooting at a mall when he opened fire on 21-year-old E.J. Bradford, who held a licensed handgun. Alabama's Attorney General says the officer did not break the law. A lawyer for Bradford's family calls that, quote, outrageous.
Said witnesses believed police had killed the wrong person when they shot a black man at an Alabama shopping mall on Thanksgiving. 3 gunshot victims can be seen in the video, including E.J. Bradford. Hoover police have offered shifting explanations for why they mistook Bradford for an active shooter. Protesters gathered last night at the mayor's home to demand answers. Mark Strassman is outside police headquarters in Hoover, south of Birmingham. Mark, good morning.
Good morning. We've been pushing for answers in this shooting, but state investigators say they won't comment on an active case, and Hoover police, despite a pledge of transparency, never got back to us. In their latest statement, they insisted that Bradford was holding his gun when they first responded at the mall.
They just killed that man in cold blood. They just seen that man had a gun on him. They shot that man down for no reason.
Witness video shows the aftermath. E.J. Bradford shot by police at the River Chase Galleria Mall.
The police seen that boy got a gun. He probably got gun license and everything.
Bradford was armed. The 21-year-old had a legal concealed weapons permit. At first, police in Hoover, Alabama insisted he had wounded 2 people earlier at the mall. They quickly backpedaled. Bradford was not the gunman. The real gunman remains at large. At Birmingham's 16th Street Baptist Church, a civil rights landmark, the Bradford family's anger and frustration was shared by several hundred supporters. It was too much for April Pipkins, the victim's mother. She collapsed in grief. Emantic Bradford Sr. is his father.
I gotta bury my baby boy, and it hurts me to the core because being at home every day ain't gonna be no fun because I can't talk to my child.
Bradford family attorney Ben Crump argues E.J. was killed because police saw a black man holding a gun.
There's some suggestion that to stop the bad guys with guns, we need to have the good guys with guns. Well, E.J. Bradford was a good guy with a gun.
Bradford's family is demanding the release of all videos from the shooting at the mall, including whatever was recorded by the shooting officer's body camera. Witnesses have told the family that Bradford was trying to guide bystanders to safety when he was shot. Gail, when you're around his parents, you can feel just how raw their pain is.
I know, Mark. We all feel it here in the studio. The mom passing out for grief, the dad who is a police officer, was a police officer. And I think the attorney, Benjamin Crump, makes a good point. People say good guy with a gun. He was a good guy with a gun who was trained.
Yeah, an Army veteran. They should release that video. There should be transparency in this because we all need to learn from this.
Yep.
What is our implicit bias about this story? There's a lot more on the story, I think.
And interesting, Nora, that they won't release a video. That says a lot.
Uh-huh. We have an update on a story from Alabama we've been covering all week. A suspect in a mall shooting is in custody, but local leaders are still pushing for more information on a police shooting at the scene. A police officer killed E.J. Bradford Jr. during Thanksgiving night, apparently thinking he had fired gunshots at the mall. Well, the actual suspect, Aaron Brown, was arrested in Georgia after a manhunt that lasted nearly a week. Mark Strassman is in Hoover, Alabama. That's just south of Birmingham, continuing to follow the story. Mark, good morning.
Good morning. Hoover's mayor says the city is cooperating with state investigators, but some city leaders want to take it a step further and release all the information and video from the night of the shooting to help set the story straight and ease tensions here. Investigators say 20-year-old Aaron Brown is the gunman who started the shooting at an Alabama shopping mall on Thanksgiving night. U.S. Marshals acting on tips arrested him at this home near Atlanta on Thursday.
We doing this video tonight in memories of Mr. Bradford Jr. Amen, God.
Overnight, crowds gathered at a city park in Birmingham to remember E.J. Bradford Jr. The 21-year-old was shot and killed by a Hoover police officer responding to reports of gunfire inside the River Chase Galleria Mall. The officer believed Bradford was the gunman. Investigators say Bradford was armed, but had a concealed weapons permit and never fired his gun.
They shot that man down for no reason.
April Pipkins is Bradford's mother.
I am going to do everything within my power to make sure my son's death was not in vain.
Bradford's family is urging investigators to release evidence about the shooting, including video from the officer's body camera.
They have our love, they have our prayers.
Hoover City Councilman Derek Murphy said the city would consider releasing the information if state investigators refused.
In the event we don't receive the information by Monday at noon, the chief will decide whether to release the limited information on his own.
One local minister said the information would help calm days of protests by supporters of Bradford's family.
Through transparency, through clarity, and through honesty, we can make this a scar that can heal.
State investigators say any evidence released prematurely could hurt their ongoing review of what happened. But Bradford's family is growing impatient. They bury their son tomorrow. Nora?
Mark, thank you.
Well, there's a twist in the investigation into a deadly shooting at a mall in Alabama. It happened on Thanksgiving night as shoppers were getting a jump on Black Friday deals. As Kenneth Craig reports, the police may have shot and killed the wrong person.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Activists marched outside the Hoover, Alabama mall demanding justice, where inside 21-year-old Amantic Fitzgerald Bradford Jr. was killed at the hands of police. His death and the evolving narrative from investigators since have prompted more questions than answers.
There has been shots fired.
Thursday evening, police swarmed the River Chase Galleria following an altercation during which an 18-year-old and a 12-year-old were shot. Shoppers ran for their lives. During the response, a uniformed officer shot Bradford to death. Afterwards, a police spokesperson confidently told reporters Bradford was the shooter behind the original incident and was brandishing a gun.
He encountered an armed subject fleeing the scene of a shooting where he had just shot someone else.
But by Friday evening, that story changed when police released a new version of events, saying the initial media release was not totally accurate, and that new evidence now suggests that while Mr. Bradford may have been involved in some aspect of the altercation, he likely did not fire the rounds that injured the 18-year-old victim. Police now say they believe at least one gunman is still at large, who may be the one actually responsible for the original shooting. Bradford appears to have gone through Army training, but the Pentagon says he never served. On Saturday, protesters demanded transparency.
Where's the body cam footage? Why we ain't seen it yet? They called him a suspect. What are they saying now?
The police officer who killed Bradford is now on administrative leave. There are now 2 investigations into this shooting. The Alabama Law Enforcement Agency is taking the lead. There's also a separate internal investigation, Rena.
Well, hope for the family they find some answers soon.
Absolutely.
Kenneth, thank you very much.
It was a Thanksgiving tragedy. In the confusion of a shooting at a mall in Alabama, the police mistakenly shot and killed a young African American man. Here's Mark Strassman.
On Thanksgiving night, chaos exploded at the River Chase Galleria Mall. Someone had shot and wounded 2 people, and 21-year-old Amantic Bradford Jr., known as EJ, lay dead, shot by a responding police officer. April Pipkins, his mother, got a call from one of his friends.
EJ. He said, EJ dead. And at that moment, I just lost it. I'm like, not my baby. No. I'm like, no, this can't be.
At first, police in Hoover, Alabama, claimed they had stopped a deadly threat.
The Hoover officer encountered an armed individual, and he did shoot and kill that person.
His family says Bradford, who had a concealed weapons permit, was armed, but his gun was always holstered. And by Friday night, Hoover police admitted Bradford likely did not fire the rounds at the mall. They are now searching for the real shooter. That pains Amantic Bradford Sr., the victim's father, who is also a police officer.
You got on TV, you made a national daggone press conference. Made it good, like this daggone officer's a hero. No, he screwed up.
The Bradford family is angry that Hoover police have never contacted them.
You shoot first and ask questions later. It's backwards.
Hoover police have not responded to more questions about the shooting or the investigation.